So here we have it. The number of leads generated through digital means, it was only possible to grow this number after we had the majority of our team being an internal team. And why is that? Because this team here, this outsourced team, this third-party team, they are delivering projects. They are not focusing on the results.
So, Joca, so you have a computer engineering degree from ITA. So you are a software engineer actually by trade, same as me. And you essentially worked for a while as a software engineer, and then somehow found out that there is a role called product management, somewhat in the 90s, right? And then you essentially like stayed with a couple of companies. LocaWeb was probably your first company where you were also active as a product leader, right?
That's right.
And there's also some great mentions and example of that company in your latest book, and also I believe in the presentation we will see in a bit. And what I found like super interesting when I read like through your CV, if you want like that, is you stayed at LocaWeb for like 11 years, right? So to help them to become more agile, to move away from this waterfall way of evolving software. And then you went to another company called Conta Azul. For those of you who don't know them, they make an ERP software, right? And what you say in your book is essentially you were able to apply what you learned at LocaWeb at Conta Azul, like in the 11 years that you were at LocaWeb, in just 2 years at Conta Azul. And I think that's pretty impressive. And well, yeah. And then last but not least, before you went into coaching, and I think if I read that correctly, Marty Kagan convinced you to go into full-time coaching, right? And basically, lastly, you served as the CPO for Gympass, and this has also, like I mentioned in Marty's new book, just because it's such an impressive story of how you transformed that company, that they were actually resilient enough to survive COVID, which is a big deal for a company that is relying on people actually going to places, right? All right, yeah, that was a lot. Is there anything to add? Is there anything to add?
Just between Gympass and prior to moving to this coaching that I've been since 2022, I've worked as the they call the CDO, Chief Digital Officer, of a company called Lopes, which is a real estate company here in Brazil, a very traditional one. Like they was founded in 1935, I guess, so almost 90 years old, and they are the biggest real estate company here in Brazil. And they were facing fierce competition from startups entering the real estate market, and they were a public company, and they decided to raise some money through a follow-on in the stock market. And they raised $30 million to invest in their digital transformation. This was in 2019, 2020. And in the mid-2020, they invited me to lead or to help them with this digital transformation. So this was another very interesting experience of digital transformation in a more traditional company, because Gympass is seen as a tech company since the beginning. Even they had this need to make the transformation, but they were, since the beginning, the startup ecosystem, funded by VCs and all that. So it's a bit different. And then I decided to go to a real digital transformation, a very traditional, like 90 years old company, to have this digital transformation experience.
Super exciting. I'm really looking forward for what you have brought today. But maybe before we kind of go into this, I mean, in your book you talk about a lot about principles that companies should follow, opposed to like processes, frameworks that are manifold in product management. I have a feeling that in the last 3 years, every week I find a new framework that is supposed to solve a problem. So why do you think that principles are more important than essentially these processes and tools that you might use, or that you might use to apply those principles at the end of the day?
Yeah, basically it goes to that very famous saying: if you have a hammer, everything will look like a nail to you. So it more or less like that. You need to understand what's behind, what are the principles, why for some things we need a hammer, why for other things we may need a screwdriver. It's the tool for the tool is not enough. You need to understand what's behind the tool, what are the principles of building products that have a good chance of success. You need some principles behind it, and then having the principles, you are able to choose the best tool, the best framework, the best process. But the principles come first.
Great. I think that is a great segue into what you have brought for us today, right?
That's right.
So,
that's right.
And with that, and also, if you are tuning in right now, just make sure if you have a question for Joca, also during the presentation, we can basically get this on screen. We have already a couple of people like this joining from Norway, for instance, joining from Heidelberg, joining from Boston, joining from Amsterdam. So we can bring your questions on stage. So if at any point you have any questions, just put them in the chat, and I will make sure that they find their way so that we can have a look at it. So Joca, go for it.
Cool. So what I brought here are what I call the 4 principles of a strong product culture. And first, I like to, because cultures sound a little bit exoteric, but if we understand the concept, this guy here, Edgar Schein, was the person who created the term organizational culture. And he was an MIT professor, and I really like the way he defined culture, organizational culture. It's basically the way that we decide to behave facing certain situations. So a group of people agree that they were going to behave like this if they face a certain situation, or behave like that if they face another situation. So it's basically, we are talking about premises, behaviors, reactions, or principles. This is what a group of people decided to follow, to face situations, to solve problems. And here I bring the 4 principles that I learned throughout my career, are very important for us to build, or to increase the chances of success of our products. And the first one is deliver early and often, and it's the first one because without it, the other 3 doesn't make any sense at all. And when we are talking about deliver early and often, I'm talking about delivering at least every week, ideally every day, ideally multiple times a day. And this guy here is called Reid Hoffman. He's one of the founders of LinkedIn, and he's also known by his advice that he gives to startups in the Silicon Valley. And one of the most famous advice that he gives is, if you are not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you probably launched it too late. I really like this one. And there are a few reasons for that, but one that is key that we need to understand is the return on investment. When we are building a software, what happens? We invest in delivering the software, in building the software, and only when the software is in the face of our users, we start to get some return. At this point here, month 6, we have enough return to pay our monthly bills in order to build the product, and we start to have what I call monthly profitability. And by month 11 here in this example, we reach what we call the return on investment. Everything that we spent during those 11 months, they start to return finally. So you are in a good point. But imagine if you are in a month 2 or 3 and you decide to add just one feature. It's only like 2 or 3 month delays, and the product will be much better, right? So let's see what happens with this curve if we do that. If we delay the monthly profitability from month 6 to month 9, let's see what happens here. So as we can see, we delayed our return on investment in 6 months. 6 months. This is way too much. And not only that, the area here in the chart is the amount of money that we need to invest. We can see here that we more than double the amount of money that we need, only delay like 2 or 3 months the launch of the product. On the other hand, if we are able to look at the feature set that we want to build, and we cut and we launch it with the minimum needed to present some value to our client, and let's say that we are able to bring from month 6 to month 3 the monthly profitability, and let's see what happens. As you can imagine, we were able to advance in 6 months the return on investment, which is huge. But not only that, take a look at the area here. It's way smaller. Even if we go deeper, it's still way smaller than the other options. So that's one reason for us to be embarrassed by our first version. And here I bring in a very interesting example from my my tenure at Gympass. I led the build of this Gympass Wellness. Just to give you a bit of context, this is Gympass. It's a corporate benefit that Gympass offers to companies. So companies can offer to their employees access to a network of more than 50,000 gyms and studios in 14 countries at the time. And we were constantly looking at how we can expand the offer. So we are thinking about street activities, personal trainer, virtual reality. Scooter was very popular here in Brazil. Massage. The second here is like an e-commerce for people that practice physical activity, practice sports. And the first one is an apps marketplace, and not only a workout app, but also meditation app, nutrition app, mental health app. And at a certain point, back in November 2019, we decided to test this idea. And in order to test this idea, we had two major concerns or two major risks. One of them is, are there apps interested in joining this marketplace? Because the business model is a bit different from what they are used to with their subscription model. And the other one is, are users willing to subscribe? So those are the two risks. And for the first one, we didn't even build an app. We built a presentation to show to potential partners. We talk about our mission. We talk about our global presence. We talk about the number of clients that we have, more than 2,000 corporate clients, the image that you just saw here, and then we explain how it will work and then make a proposal for them. We presented this to 8 apps. From the 8 apps, 6 showed interest, and from the 6, 4 decided to go into a pilot with us. And then what we did is, from those 2,000 clients that we have here, we selected 10, like 0.5% of our client base. We selected 10, 5 in Brazil, 5 in the US, and we sent to their employees an email marketing. I said that an email, very, very simple email marketing, presenting them this new offer. So here you have wellness. It will cost $7.99 per month, and click here, and then they go to this landing page, and this landing page explains more about the offer. So Now You is a workout app, 8Fit is workout and nutrition app, Zen is a meditation app, And then if you are interested, just click, fill out the form below, only name, the corporate email and the company, and also credit card information, because we were testing willingness to subscribe. There is no app, there is no login page. We only present to the customer a link to activate an account in each of the partners that we had. So a very, very simple way to test this idea and to put it in front of clients as soon as possible. And this is an example that illustrates the deliver early and often. So this
I think that's, Joca, I think that is absolutely brilliant, because so when you just showed the chart with like the return on investment, to be honest, I was thinking a lot of the people out there listening, and especially the ones working for big companies, they are now looking at this and saying, wait, you think shipping up after 9 months or getting like value back from users after 9 months is a long time? We've been working on this thing for like 2 or 3 years now without shipping it, right? Exactly. I think that was like the first thought. And the second thought was, it is absolutely fantastic how you basically tried out new business at Gympass, because at the time you were doing that was already a huge company, right?
Exactly. That's correct. And this is an important aspect. Also, we tried this out. I went out of the CPO role that I had at Gympass, and I became the general manager, so to speak, of this Gympass Wellness initiative or business unit. Initially, it was only me. Then I brought some people to help me out, but it was a startup within a bigger company. That's the way we organize in order to have some focus here on this opportunity that we are experimenting with.
So how long did it take you to set up the first and the second experiment?
So during November and December, we were talking to potential partners. And then as soon as we realized, oh, there are some of them that are interested, so let's start building something to test the interest. And this was December, January, and February. We were ready. February 2020, we were ready to launch it. So that's when we presented to our initial potential customers.
So basically 3 months from start to getting it in front of customers. I mean, and also like, I mean, that was not a huge effort to build, right? So
exactly.
It was not
a landing page.
Yeah, exactly. And so because one of the things I think with experiments is always, how do you set the expectation right? So you go into an experiment and you are basically asking yourself, so what would we consider a success? So how did you exactly do that for especially for the landing page? Were you looking at like a conversion? Were you looking at the amount of customers that would sign up, or what was your assumption going in, and what you actually observed?
Yeah, basically it was conversion, and one important aspect to highlight here is that we were not willing to be embarrassed in front of all of our 2,000 customers at the time. We picked like 10 customers, like 0.5% of our customer base, in order to be embarrassed. So we can control the amount of embarrassment exposure that we can have, but it was critical. We realized that we needed to put this in front of clients. That's the only way we will be able to test this, to see if there is interest. So yeah, and yes, the conversion rate, the number of people that signed it, that was the success metric that we were tracking.
So I guess the important takeaway then is limit the blast radius if you do it in a bigger company.
That's
so
right.
That you be embarrassed, but not. I like this. Like, be embarrassed, but not in front of too many people. So I really like this.
That's a point.
Yeah, brilliant.
Cool. So then moving forward to the focus on the problem, this is really, really interesting. And I realized that Sebastian used the same quote. And this is an important quote from Einstein here. And he said that if he had an hour to solve a problem, he would spend the whole 55 minutes understanding more about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about solution. And that's it's human nature. When we heard about a problem, it's very natural for us. We even finished to heard about the problem. We were already thinking about solving this problem. And as soon as possible, we try to solve it as fast as possible because we don't like unsolved problems. And here, what I'm trying to bring here is that we need to understand more about the problem. And not only that, be able to have solution hypotheses and test those solutions hypotheses prior to committing to one solution. Because if we have this solution hypothesis testing phase, we are able to find a solution that delivers value faster. So following on with this first principle. So here the example that I have is really, really interesting. When I joined Lopes, the real estate company that I mentioned, they were already working on a MVP, and I put it in quotes, an MVP for a real estate agent app. And I put it in quotes because they were already building this for 7 months. And then I asked them, but why are we building this real estate agent app? And they said, the lead, the information of a person interested in a property, the lead, as soon as we got it into the hands of the agent and the agent replies, the bigger the chances of evolving this to an actual sale. So I went after and I found this interesting information that if we call within 5 minutes, we are 21 times more effective than if we call after 30 minutes. So that's the idea, to have the lead as soon as possible in the hands of the agent, so the agent could talk to the potential customer. But they went and started to do a discovery, actually a 5-month discovery period. And during this discovery, what they realized is that the agent, as soon as the agent receives the lead, the first thing that she does is enter the database of clients and search if the person is there. And if it's not there, register the person's data into the database. And then the scope increased, as you can see. And after that, they realized that the agent, normally what they do is they search for additional properties to send more options, because that increases the chances of the lead, the person interested in property, to schedule a visit to the property. So they implemented this very, very sophisticated feature of draw in the map the region where you want to search, which is a very advanced feature for an MVP. So I explained to them, hey, listen, MVP is like 1 month or a few weeks, not more than that. And our main problem to solve is to bring the lead into the agent's head as fast as possible. So what we should have done is we should have built only a push notification app and let the agent do whatever she needs to do as she used to do outside of the app. And I said to them, hey, listen, a minimum really would be not even building the app. We can send notifications to WhatsApp, which is very popular in Brazil, or SMS. And everybody said, oh, that's right. And then I talked to the engineering team, and they implemented the SMS notification. And it took our team only 10 days to have this ready and sending notification to all of the agents. 10 days compared to 1 year that they were expecting this problem to be solved. So here, focusing on the problem, we are able to create solution hypotheses and maybe find the solution hypothesis which is able to deliver value as fast as possible. And actually, we are seeing again the principle of delivering early value to the customer and value to the company that owns the product.
To be honest, I'm so glad that you are sharing this, and that this is not only a problem in Germany. Because I mean, in Germany, this is like, I don't know whether it's like the engineering culture, I have no idea, but we just like to build stuff. And what you're just sharing, I've seen that so many times. And it's just because, and I think it also comes down to what you said earlier. If you only have a hammer, everything is a nail, right? If you have like a full stack engineering team and you want to build an app and they can build an app, then you build an app, right? Instead of thinking about, can I actually solve that in an easier manner? But I mean, that's quite a gap, right? I mean, you delivered value in 10 days opposed to a year. I mean, to be fair, there was some discovery that discovered it, but then again, you probably could have gotten there in a month, right?
Exactly. Probably in a month we would have this problem solved, and we could test if that's true. If the lead actually being received very fast, will actually bring sales. Will increase the number of sales. So because this was a hypothesis also, we knew that, we researched, but this was a hypothesis. Does this work in a real estate environment? We need to test this prior to commit to building an app, right? So
yeah, I love this, like the area search. I mean, that's just
it's a super sophisticated feature.
For my God, yes.
It doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah. Also from an engineering perspective, I mean, that's crazy. That's a crazy amount of work.
Yeah. Cool.
So focus on the problem, and again, deliver early.
That's right. And then we can go to the third principle, and this is really, really important: deliver results. We need to deliver results constantly, because even though we are talking about product, it's a product masterclass and all that, we don't wake up every morning to build products and deliver products. We wake up every morning to reach our goals and to achieve our results. And the product, the feature, app, site, algorithm, everything are tools, are means for us to reach those goals. And the number one priority for every product development team is to generate results as fast as possible. To whom? To the company who owns the product to achieve their strategic goals, and to our clients to whom we are building a product or we are building a solution to solve their problems or to fulfill their needs. So here I have two very, very, very interesting examples. The first one is when I joined Lopes, I found this. I found half of the team, the one in red here, was an outsourced team. Was a team that were building the real estate agent app. They were rebuilding the website. They were rebuilding the CRM. And I never faced this in my previous experiences, but it really shocked me. And I always had to me that it would be better to have internal team than a third-party team or outsourced team. Then I made the calculations and I saw the cost per person in each of those models were more or less the same, a bit cheaper even in the internal team. And then I went to the board and said, hey, listen, I joined them in August 2020, and I realized this. And by October, more or less, I talked to the board and said, hey, may I change this? Because I do prefer internal teams because they are more into the culture of the company. They are more aligned with our objectives. And they said to me, listen, you are the expert, do whatever you think it's necessary. If the cost is the same, sure, go ahead. And then we started to turn off the outsourced companies. And here in January, we were able to have a huge hiring, a lot of people there. And then we started to turn off this. And what is interesting is that, as I mentioned, Lopes raised $30 million to invest in this digital transformation. But from the very beginning, since 2019, the main objectives was to increase the number of leads generated through digital means, through online, through any digital means possible. This was the objectives since the beginning. When I was talking to them to join them, they explained to me, we are making this digital transformation to increase the number of sales originated through the internet. Because, you know, everyone who searches a new home or home to buy, to acquire, or to rent, they go online first. And at Lopes, less than 20% came from online. A lot of them was visiting a booth or to a sign in the street and things like that. So this was the main objective. And one very interesting thing that really, really amazed me, more than surprised, amazed me, and probably you are going to be surprised as well. And I showed this to Sebastian, he got surprised, is when we put here over this chart here, the number of leads generated by this team. And it's really amazing. So here we have it, the number of leads generated through digital means. It was only possible to grow this number after we had the majority of our team being an internal team. And why is that? This is very, very surprising. When we made this overlap of charts, this really amazed me. And why is that? Because this team here, this outsourced team, this third-party team, they work in what I call the project model, or Marty calls this the feature model. So it's feature or project model, because they are delivering projects. They are delivering the new app. They are delivering the new site. They are delivering the new CRM. They are not focusing on the results. Here is the difference very clear between what I call the project team and the product team or results team. The project team or the feature team, the stakeholder decides what to do. Normally someone from the business area or a C-level or a founder. And on the product team, the team is given a problem to solve, and they have complete autonomy to decide how to move forward, how to solve this problem. Other names, delivery team, solution implementer team. Marty calls the product team the empowered product team. I like to also call the results team or the problem solver team. The way they work is completely different. And this one, they already know, the feature team, they already know what they're gonna deliver. So they build piece by piece, and only the really delivering value by the end. Here, I even don't like that much here, but here is the idea of iteration, learning and iterating. And here, for instance, step one, they could change this to a man. It doesn't need to be a woman, a man in the field. You change through learning, through adaptation. And this is very important. The project manager role in a feature team is much more a project management, because it needs to guarantee that the team delivers what was asked to them, while in a product team, the role is much more of understanding the goals that we need to reach and understanding the problem of the user. It's much more complex, you know. It's a lot of additional and important work that needs to be done. And the prioritization here in the feature team is normally made by committee, normally based on the HIPPO technique, which is the highest paid person's opinion. And on the other hand, the product team, the results team, the prioritization is done by the project manager, because the project manager knows that they need to deliver results as fast as possible. So this is very important, and results to the company who owns the product and to the user, the client that we need to solve their problems. And the main deliverable in a project team is features, the real estate agent app and things like that, while the product team, what they deliver are results. And what we are funding here, this is important. We are funding a predefined solution or scope, and that's why we can use a third party. We are buying a solution. We are buying a real estate agent app. And here, what we are financing is a team to solve problems. And it's very different. So when we look here, it's very clear that here we have a project team which is delivering the real estate agent app, is delivering the a new website and things like that. And here we are making the transition into a product team. And when the product team is fully established, it is able to really move the needle, you know. And this is one example of results being the focus, delivering results. And the second is very, very good also. I really like this one. Is
Joca, can you maybe go back the one slide like this?
Sure. I know you like this
everybody make sure to take a screenshot of this. And then you go and take it to your C-level executives, because I mean, this is literally, that's why I also like when Joca showed it to me the first time, I was like, this is the first time I've seen it being connected, basically the project versus the product team setup being connected to real business outcomes. And I mean, in this case, it's not only product outcomes, right? It's actual business outcomes, because the business earns money with the leads they gather. And I mean, that is absolutely fantastic. And Joca has already said that earlier. I mean, this is one of the things I'm most interested in how to shift basically companies from project to product mindset. And when I saw this, absolutely fantastic. So make sure to take a screenshot of this.
Yeah, this is a good one. Prior to this, I had only a gut feeling that an internal team would work better than a third-party team. But after this is like the CKD, you know. In math, you do the CKD. This is the CKD for me, you know. And one thing that is important to highlight is that this is not an issue of third-party, of internal team. This is an issue of modus of operation, the way you operate. Because you can find internal teams that work as a project team. It's very common, actually. So it's not a third-party versus internal team, is project team models of operation against the product team models of operation. So that's what we are comparing.
One thing I would be interested in, do you think, because I mean, obviously this has also to do with the kind of mindset shift that you brought into the company, right? In terms of moving away from just like stakeholders telling you, hey, build this, build that, and then you basically measure success by, oh, it's been shipped and that's all right. But do you think you would have come to a similar result if you had changed, or if you were able to change the mindset of the third-party teams more in the direction of how you were basically working with the product teams?
Maybe even one of them asked me how I can continue to be with you, and I said to them, listen, we need to be focused on results, because back in January I already give a heads up to all the outsourcing companies that we're gonna probably finish our agreement in 6 months time. So they were prepared. I didn't take this as a surprise to them. And one of them asked, how can we continue with you? We enjoy working with you. And I said to them, we need to be focused on results. We need to be delivering results. So this was the only outsourced company that remained for a longer period with us. But it's difficult because it's the nature of an outsourcing company to sell you hours. So if you imagine the app, the discovery was actually to create a big backlog, so they were able to sell a lot of hours to the company. So it's a different nature of work and a different focus on their result is selling more hours to us. It's different than the result that we are after. Yeah.
It's basically a conflict of interest in that regard, because the goals are not aligned. Okay,
exactly.
got it.
Exactly.
All right.
And this connects to the other example, which is I really like this one because we had what we call the Lopes Labs was the name of the team, and even being focused on the customer, on the result, on delivery fast, the board, the C-level, they were constantly asking us to deliver features. And if we use some empathy, we can understand why. This is people that doesn't understand much about technology, and they raised like $30 million in the stock market in order to invest in this digital transformation. And they were investing each month. They were investing more and more and more and more. And they said, "Whoa, listen, we are investing. What is the return on our investment?" And they said, "Oh, this team, what do? They deliver features, they deliver product, they deliver apps. So how are we gonna ask them about the return on our investment? Oh, let's ask them, where is the feature? Where is the product? Where is the app?" It completely makes sense. But when I saw this, I said, this will not fly. This will not work. So let us do the following. So I decided to build the budget of 2021 for this area as not a cost center only, but as a business unit. So our premises when we built this budget was, let's first stabilize the cost. Let's not increase this cost anymore. Let's start to measure the result. And in this particular case was very connected to the revenue that we were able to generate. And let's hit a point where the revenue is greater than the cost. Then we presented this to our board. So this is the number that you just saw, the cost increasing. And here we propose costs stabilize it in red, start to measure the revenue and bring more and more revenue each quarter to a point that the blue here is revenue less costs is the result, to a point that we're going to have the result positive. We're going to hit break even in the fourth quarter of 2021. We presented this to the board. The board said, okay. And from now on, we're going to ask you, where are the results? So it was a complete change. And even addressing to your question, Sebastian, this is how I was able to make this shift of mindset within the company. And then after having this budget approved, we started to perform on this budget. So here are the revenue, and the dashed line is the budget revenue, and here the continuous line is the actual revenue that we were able to generate. So we were able to generate revenue each and every month, except for October and November of that year, because here in Brazil, probably this happened in the whole world. During 2020, because of the pandemic, all of the countries, all of the central banks, they dropped the interest rate. And then back in the third quarter of 2021, the central banks started to increase the interest rate of each country. And here in Brazil, I learned this because of the situation, 1% of increase in the interest rate, it would remove 1 million families access to home financing. So it was huge. It's a very dynamic, addressable market because of this interest rate. But even though we were able to beat the budget in December 2021, and the costs, we were able to maintain it very aligned with the budget, and consequently the result here was visible. We were able to beat the results almost all of the year, except for the 2 months that I just mentioned, and we were able to break even in the second quarter of 2021. So it was really good. And this chart here, we had an all hands meeting with all the product development team, engineers, product managers, designers, and we discussed this. We presented this each and every month. So we enter here May with not that good of a result. So we started to discuss how can we improve those results. And after that, in the following month, we beat the budget again. So I really like this example of showing the entire team, not only product managers, but designers, data people, engineers, all of them, they understand the result that they are delivering. So this is, again, focus on delivering results, business results.
I really like this approach of basically showing how well you are doing. also as a company, because then you get people on board to basically think outside the box and think about, okay, how can we improve that, right? So it's I see this actually a lot working with companies, that there's teams that are working on things, and there's a growing frustration because they are not selling anything, and but they never get the transparency of what is our budget, how much money are we burning, what do we actually need in order to break even, or in order to become like what you call monthly profitable. And I really like that. So how do you have like maybe something top of your mind when you showed this to the team over time that came out of it, in terms of that people said, oh wow, but I have this idea how we can actually improve this? Is that something that happened when you showed that?
Yeah, definitely. When we started to discuss about the results that we needed to generate, the people, product managers and designers, they are normally creative, but what we were able to get is a fantastic superpower to have the engineers thinking about the result that we needed to generate. So it's I wouldn't say the main, but having the three functions, not only the two, the product manager and the design, but having the engineer thinking, because engineers are the ones that know about technology, know what's possible now, know what is available for them to solve problems, and consequently to generate results. So they are fantastic. For instance, the example of the app, the real estate agent app, the person who gave the the suggestion was an engineer of the SMS. Was not the product manager, was not the product designer, was not the business people, was an engineer. Why don't we send an SMS? It's way simpler to implement. And we said, wow, you were right. So when we have the engineers thinking about the result that they need to deliver and the problems that they need to solve, you just added a superpower to your team.
Brilliant. I have so many more questions, but like we have about 10 minutes left, and I would really like to take also like 1 or 2 questions from the audience. So if you can already think of something, post it in the chat.
Sure. So let me finish this with the fourth principle, which is really cool. Also, the ecosystem mindset. And what does this mean? This means that we have normally we have more than one type of client. So here at Gympass, for instance, we have users, we have the companies, we have also the gyms. The gyms are clients also that we need to pay attention to. When I joined Gympass, the company was already 800 people, but the product development team was very, very small. It's what was like 30 people. And from those 30 people, like 26 were working on the delivering product to the end user, the sexy part, so to speak, the B2C. We had like 3 people doing integration of gyms, and no one here in the focusing on the client, the corporate client, the HR. And I said, oh, this is unbalanced. We need to balance better this team. So the ecosystem mindset is a value of Gympass, now called WellHub. Since then, this understanding the needs of all of our users. And the example that I bring here is very, very interesting. It's actually in Marty's latest book, The Transformed. And it's about what happened in pandemic. Because imagine, March 2020, the gyms were closed, the employees were locked down at their homes. And then what happened is the HRs, they started to call us and said, hey, listen, Gympass, it doesn't make much sense to continue with this corporate benefits because the gyms are closed and our employees are locked down at home. So we said, wait a minute, we are just launching, and this is the importance of delivering early. We are just launching Gympass Wellness. So this will be perfect for your employees that they are at home, so they can work out at home. And not only that, they could do mindfulness sessions. They could take care of their nutrition and even mental health. So it was a very important tool for us to retain our customers, to retain our revenue sources here. And just a quick parenthesis, this was the moment of the biggest blitz scale in my career, because we went from 4 apps to 90 apps in like 2 months, because we needed to have apps in each of the countries that we had presence, and different levels of apps. So we started to close deals with many apps, like 90 apps in 2 months. And we went from 0, obviously, users to 500,000 users in like 4 months. It was amazing. And if you look here, what about the gyms? The gyms, they are closed, but they are a cost center, so to speak, to Gympass. And what should we do? If it was not for the ecosystem mindset, we were not thinking. We were thinking about, okay, the revenue sources, they are protected, and the gyms, I'm so sorry, but that was not what we thought at the time. We thought the pandemic will eventually end, and we're gonna need our partners, so we need to help them. And how are we gonna help them? We're gonna build. We had a booking system. We're gonna build an additional field in the booking system saying the URL for the gym to be able to stream live classes. So we called the gyms, the gym owners, and said to them, hey, listen, why don't you stream live classes? You call your professors and have them giving live classes, and we're gonna pay you by the people that register and watch your live classes. And then we were able to present this new product. We built it like in less than 1 month. We call it Gympass Live Classes. And we were able to have more than 600 gyms connected here to this offer, and probably helped them survive through the pandemic. So this is the ecosystem mindset, and it closes the 4 principles that of a strong product culture. This is very, very important to pay attention to.
1 month to launch. I mean, that's also, I really like that. I mean, I really like this mindset of looking at the different parts of the ecosystem and say, hey, we need to help. We are now in a good position to help them win as well, or not lose as much. I can't imagine that would account for all the lost revenue, but at least like giving everybody the chance to participate in that ecosystem and really help them thrive again. I mean, I really like this mindset, not just purely looking at the revenue perspective, but also saying, so listen, like we are in it for the long game, right? And then we also need to make sure that our partners are still there when the pandemic ends, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And one important aspect, we were only able to build the solution very, very fast because we were practicing this product culture. This was what enabled us to be able to deliver that fast a product good enough to help the partners. This was only possible due to the product culture that we built in those 2 years at Gympass.
That's definitely quite a success story.
It is. Yeah, and when I mentioned this to Marty, he wanted to put this story in this, because this shows what a company that transformed, that understand the product principles and is able to practice the product principles. This shows what a company like that is able to do. So that's why he liked this example.
Thank you so much for sharing this. So I would say we use the last 5 or 6 minutes in order to also take some questions, because there's already a couple in the chat. But before that, because we have a bit of a delay in the stream, so just put your questions into the chat. Joca, how can people reach you if they want to work with you? I mean, you have also published not only one. I mean, I have one book of yours, but you have actually published how many now? 4, right?
4 books. 4 books actually. So those are the books. The one that I talk a lot about digital transformation and this product culture is this latest one. I launched it the end of 2023, and all of them are available at Linkpub. And here I brought a special discount for the people that are here in the product masterclass. And the other books, this one, Digital Products Leaderships, is focused on the leading role of leading this type of teams. Product management is about the function of the roles and responsibilities of a product manager. And a startup guide is more focused on discovery, how to discover products that can generate some results. And to your question, if you want to go deeper, I'm offering in company talks, workshops, continuous education, also coaching, advisory, assessment of product development teams and product development culture, fractional CPO. So that's what I've been doing since 2022, and it's been a very interesting journey back to being an entrepreneur again. So very nice.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing, Joca. And maybe let's see one thing I would actually love to share with the audience as well. So, as some of you might know, we are like for the second year now, we are hosting the Just Product Conference in Munich, but it's also streamed worldwide completely for free. So even if you're in Brazil, you don't have to travel to enjoy the talks, but you can just join the live stream for free. And if you want to attend live in Munich, then definitely make sure to get your ticket until end of June, because then we still have the early bird prize. So we have already a couple of great speakers joining us. There will be a couple of more coming in the next 1 or 2 weeks. And with that, I would say let's have a look if we can take a question. So one thing Milene asked was, how do you connect the increase in revenue with the impact of the product? I think that is actually a really interesting question.
Yeah, that's a very good question, Milene. And the idea at Lopes it was very easy to connect, because we were focusing on generating leads and consequently generating sales and consequently generating the revenue. So it was very, very connected. But I'm working with ONG now, and they said, listen, we don't have revenue. How do we measure the results generated by the product team? And I asked them, what's the focus of the ONG? So they are focused on education, on improving the level of education, improving the level of teachers here in Brazil. And I said, that's your results. That's what you need to be, the needle that you need to move, the metric that you need to increase the reach of this of your product in order to talk to more teachers, to more professors, and to guarantee that these professors are performing better than the ones that are not in your platform. That's how you measure your results. So in each product, you are able to find what is the result expected from the product.
And we also have a comment from Anfin that they experienced a similar lead curve when they went from project to product. So it doesn't seem to be a fluke of nature here, but it seems to be more the rule than the exception. Thanks for sharing that, Anfin. All right, so people unfortunately already have to leave, because in Brazil it's basically their lunch break. In Germany, probably people now have to, or in Europe, have to hurry home to get food. Joca, I can't thank you enough. So I have to say, I always enjoy these events. Not only because they, like we experienced, that they are super useful for our community, and I believe also yours, but it's also always for me a pleasure to learn from people that have different experience from mine. And today, again, I learned quite a bit also from reading your book. So I can definitely recommend that. I mean, I posted already the link into the chat. If you are interested in how to drive digital transformations in companies, definitely check out Joca's book, because there's like so many. I have like a whole list of things we didn't get to today. There's a brilliant study about a company in there as well, Aurum, that I believe friends of yours founded, and how they basically transitioned from a place where they had a legacy software and had to move it into the cloud. Absolutely loved that. And there's so many more great examples and value in that book. So make sure to check that out. As always, last words for the guest.
Oh, thank you so much, Sebastian. What was really, really nice to be able to show here. And thank you so much for inviting and having me. And really hope this will be helpful to the community that joined the call, and to whoever will watch this later. Really hope this is helpful to them.
I'm very sure that it is. Thank you so much again. And with that, bye-bye from Munich, and bye-bye from Brazil, I guess.
That's right. Bye-bye from Brazil, São Paulo.